how are you on this fine day? I hope that if you're here, you subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and you check out everything that's down below. A great description box, a like button, a subscribe button. They're all there for you, so please use them. And you may notice I'm in a different location because I am always one to show up to things extra early because I have the innate fear of being late, because the concept of time is difficult. So I figured while I'm here just chilling with a dog on my lap, might as well chit chat. So bear with me in this car location, car vlogging, if you will. But I wanted to discuss something that I haven't necessarily touched on yet, and the fact that I haven't touched on it kind of goes into, it goes against what I've shared and how I just promote being your best advocate and to be accepting, I guess, of however you identify with being neurodiverse, whether that's a formal diagnosis or a self-diagnosis. And I say all of this because, as you know, I've been formally diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and in just kind of this process, I guess, it's going to be almost a year of that formal diagnosis, and I haven't touched on other forms of neurodiversity specifically because I don't want to do them injustice. I don't want to pretend that I'm an expert in something when, I'm just discovering it myself, even though that's kind of been what I've been doing with being autistic. So, we're just gonna throw hypocrisy out the window, the car window, and I want to discuss ADHD because with just learning more about myself and neurodiversity, and especially the high prevalence of people who are diagnosed as autistic, are very oftentimes also ADHD. And I've noticed that in myself of just, it's just another form of neurodiversity that I find, ironically enough, it's more, air quotes, like mainstream, but not even. Please bear with me because I'm not an expert and we're just here chatting. But it's more accepting, I think, because ADHD involves less with socializing and those kinds of more social behaviors that are, just more stereotypical and, oh, hi, sweetie. They're more stereotypical and they seem more limiting versus ADHD has its own stereotypes of you're just bouncing off the walls and you are always distracted and you're like the problem child in a classroom, and all these different images that we have that just go along with, neurodiversity, other things like that. And as I've learned more about it and I've done the research, I do think that with autism, I also have ADHD. And the reason I've tiptoed around it is because, it is a self-diagnosis. And with self-diagnosis comes the greater opportunity for others to diminish what you've realized about yourself, and it neglects the fact that any form of formal diagnosis is really biased, and it's a great privilege and in ways like just a long process and hassle that so many can't do. And even in my diagnostic process of autism, you know, there was a lot of things that came up that included ADHD, and it was more or less just in that formalized process. I think it's hard to like to think beyond, like, if you meet a certain quota of symptoms or anything like that, then you don't have this or you do have that. And you know, it's capturing one moment in time, and I think looking back on it, I do kind of wish that I could have gotten a diagnosis with everything, including, you know, ADHD and autism, because there is a sense of validation in that. But you know, either way, it's something that I just want to open the doors on, and I want to be open with just talking more about different forms of neurodiversity, and just opening up this community that we're making to, you know, anybody who can resonate or connect or cares about someone who resonates with being neurodiverse, whatever that looks like. So I guess this is just kind of an introduction and opening the door to the fact that being autistic and ADHD is something that's very common, and it can be as overlooked as being autistic, given, you know, your gender, your socioeconomic status, your race, what have you. It faces the same kind of boundaries, but I just want to emphasize that self-diagnosis is a very valid form of diagnosis, as long as our healthcare is like it is. Then you have every right to do the research, talk to other people, and just serve yourself as best you can. And to do that, that involves just self-exploration and self-awareness, and all of this to say that I'm still going to chat about autism and being autistic, because that's a very prominent part of my life for obvious reasons. But I also want to touch ADHD in there as well, and open that conversation up to these different areas that they deserve as much recognition as we've been giving autism in these parts of the internet. So please feel free to share your thoughts. If you also have ADHD, if you have both autism and ADHD, what have you, please share in the comments below. Share any kind of requests that you may have, because, you know, we're all just learning and exploring together, and you know, that's what we're here for. So thank you for being here. Subscribe and like if you haven't already. And, you know, let's just keep growing. Let's keep learning. And however you identify right now, even if that might change in the future or adapt, you know, you're valid as you are, you're valuable, and you are seen. So with that flippy-aroo, I will see you all next time.